I'm going to try making a video again. I've been rather unsuccessful because it's been so cold that the camera keeps thinking the battery's going flat when it supposedly isn't. But we had a strong heavy frost this morning. The ice is now cleared off the cars, and I'm getting on with my witch's staircase project. I'm busy cutting the treads out at the moment, and I realised that if I was careful, did it a bit more tricky, I could basically save half the wood. So what I've been doing, and this is actually the last one now, is cutting out the steps. So 2 steps come out of one piece, and I've now piled them up. I need 12 of them. This is the last 2 I'm cutting now, and I've dry fitted part of this just to see how it's all going to fit, because it has to be pretty precise for a staircase, and it's all looking good. How I'm going to get it in there on my own when I build it, I don't know yet. One of the complexities of the job is how do you saw up 3.6 meter planks in a room that is only 3 meters long? And the answer is to stick it out the window. And luckily I just recently changed the hinges from the window, because one of the building inspector wanted the window to open wider as a fire issue, particularly if I wanted this to put in this staircase, this witch's staircase. So the witch's staircase, or alternate tread staircase, means that you have to put your foot alternately, right foot on this one, left foot on the next one, which will be reversed. So you save a lot of space in terms of the layout and the footprint of the staircase. Quite a bit of fancy routing going on here to make the treads, and you can see the alternation now. There's a full tread, and below that is a half tread, and then below that is a full tread, and on the opposite side they're obviously the other way around, which means that the ladder or the stairs can be basically twice as steep and still give you the same tread and going measurements that are required by the building inspector. So she's coming around tomorrow. Hopefully she'll be happy with what I've been doing. Still quite a bit of wood. It cost me about £150 worth of wood to build this, but if I look online, if you want somebody to build you one, it's going to cost you £550. So if I have to spend some time, that's good. There's plenty of time for making mistakes. I've been super careful. Hopefully so far I haven't made any bad ones that I can tell, but there's a lot of measuring, a lot of writing out. These treads here that I'm cutting out in there, they're cut slightly oversized so that I can trim them down perfectly with a template later, because I can't cut them absolutely precisely the way I'm cutting them now. But it's beginning to look like we're going to have a staircase. Unfortunately, it means we're going to lose some space which I was hoping to use as a cupboard, so I can't quite decide what to do there yet, where that old wardrobe is, because the stairs are going to be in the way. But it is going to give us a lot of space behind or underneath the stairs to build a wardrobe there, so that should be good. On the farming front, our sheep have come and gone again. Poor little buggers must be freezing, because it really has been cold, but we haven't had any of the snow that much of the UK has had. That all seems to be concentrated on the east coast. So Leonora is complaining about the cold. I've got the window open at -1, and I'm hot because I've been working so hard on this woodwork. Well, this morning we were greeted with another winter wonderland, with the temperatures well below 0. All the trees look like a Christmas calendar covered in frost, as are the cars, and it's not a lot warmer in here where I'm working. But I've made some progress with the witch's staircase, and you'll be able to see now that I've done most of the routing. It's pretty complicated. So we have a wide tread followed by a narrow tread followed by a wide tread with the riser segments routed out as well. You look carefully, you'll see I made a mistake here. It's a miracle I only made one, and I have to fill these where I routed them in the wrong place. That's what it's going to look like going up the stairs eventually. It's taken a lot of fiddling, a lot of measuring, a lot of double checking. a fairly steady use of Pythagoras' theorem to work out the angles, not to mention an online right angle calculator, but I think we're making progress. Now I'm busy making up a jig to cut out the risers. I have a whole selection of little jigs here that I've made up to give myself consistent cuts with the circular saw or with the router, or to cut out the threads so they're all the same. The steps, the threads have all been cut out now. You can see that also gets complicated because they alternate left and right, so you need a pair of each one. Make sure you don't cut the wrong one. They've also been all routed out at the back to fit in the risers when we assemble it. There's still going to be some detail work done on the front edges to make them look a little bit more attractive. I had a test play with one piece that was spare just to see what I could do with it. So I have a nice detailed edge on it eventually. For now, I need to carry on cutting out 12 risers and then we can start assembling it. How I'm actually going to lift it up into the loft space and fit it up there, I don't know, because I'm going to have to take the ladder down to do it. So still some thought going into that, but we're making some progress. The building inspector seems reasonably happy that I've managed to stay within the specs, which is pretty tricky actually with the limited space I've got. But in the end, if it all works out well, it'll be much better than having a fold down loft ladder. I have a permanent way of getting them down into the loft space. Right, a little bit more progress on the witch's staircase, alternate tread staircase. I've now roughly installed it. I've still got to put some of the bottom treads on it. It's only just tacked in here at the moment, but I needed to make sure that it would all fit tight, and it was tight. Hell of a job to get it in there because it's near perfect fit at the top, and it's very heavy to push into place. I've got 3 or 4 treads to put in down the bottom. The rest of the rising treads are all in, and it just about makes the building specs in terms of the head height specifications, etc., which is important. But what it does do is it means that you can build a staircase where you step right foot, left foot, right foot, and then you get the same, what they call going, stepping forward distance over 2 steps instead of 1, which means you can compress the whole footprint of the staircase and fit it into a smaller space. And if you're living in a tiny Welsh cottage, space is of a premium. So pretty soon I should have access to my loft without climbing up and down the ladder. And then we're on to building cupboards, I suppose. Progress is being made, as they say. Welcome back to the dressing room. Progress is being made, as I keep telling you. Obviously the wall's been plastered now, and I have finished the witch's staircase. It's an alternate tread staircase that allows you to access the loft whilst using much less space to build the stairs, which would otherwise take up twice the footprint basically. The idea is that you step alternately, so you can only go up this way. You can't decide to go left foot first or whatever. And we now have access into the loft space. So I'm quite pleased with that. It's a pretty complicated thing to try to measure up, especially because it has to be absolutely precise. But the building inspector did drop by the other day and was happy with my plans. So it looks like we're going to be going ahead with that. This is going to be painted eventually. For the present, I'm now moving over to framing the wall. I'm just going to be behind the cupboards because I think it's going to be easier to frame it and plasterboard it than it is to mess about. I've also noticed there's been a lot of, over winter, been a lot of condensation with it being so cold outside. So I'm going to put some, the other reason for doing it is I put some insulation in here to try to maximise the insulation in the room and keep it warmer, cut down the condensation. So there we are. We have stairs, will travel.